Hey, mamas, and welcome to Between Us Moms. We have an amazing guest today. You know her as Allison De Laurentiis from Pretty Little Liars. She was also a force to be reckoned with on Dancing with the Stars. She's a lifestyle expert with her own cookbook and a drink line. She has a steamy Lifetime holiday movie in the works. And of course, she's a mama. Please welcome Sasha Pieterse to the podcast.
Yay! I'm so happy to
Yay!
be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like I said this to our last guest, but you and I have done so many interviews together as we were just
I know,
talking about. But this is our first one, mom to mom.
which is I was going to mention it, and congratulations. I think this is just so cool. We haven't seen each other in I what
Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
since like COVID, basically.
yeah, it must have been. Which is, I mean, it goes by in a blink of an eye. Hendrix is turning
Four.
4 in a week, which is just absolutely mind blowing.
I cannot
Um,
believe that he's going to be four. Like, what is life like right now? And what is
I
he
know.
like as a 4-year-old?
He's hilarious and such a good kid. I think speaking of COVID, there's a lot of COVID babies out there that, have unfortunately not been able to kind of get that social aspect or had like a delay in that side. Yeah, he didn't have that problem. He is so friendly, so outgoing, loves everybody, like will hug the male person, he's like he
I love
he's
that.
just hilarious. But he's such a good kid. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just life is sweet. There's obviously moments. But he's just the best. Yeah.
Oh,
I love his name too.
Thank you.
Hendrix is
Thanks.
pretty badass.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fun, it's strong.
yeah, I love that. Katie and I are bona fide girl moms. We both have two girls.
I love it.
So like the boy mom world fascinates us. It's like so foreign to us.
Yeah.
Um, but we do think, it's super important right now to be raising really strong women, but we also feel like
Yes.
it's really important more than ever now to be raising really gentle men, you know?
Yes,
Is that
absolutely.
on your mind? Is that on your heart? And what are some of the values you're trying to instill in Hendrix?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like most of our friends with kids have girls.
Mm.
So it is really funny when Hendrix goes over to their house, the things that he gets into versus the girls, because they just don't baby proof the house the same. When he was younger, he's also much taller than most. So my husband is 6'5", and so he's always been very, very tall compared to everybody else his age. And so he would like go into somebody's house and be like, "Ooh, scissors, knives. Oh, that's a kitchen." Knock over the play kitchen, like totally destroy all the cute things that the girls have. And we'd be like, "Ooh, okay, we gotta put this stuff away." And are the furniture, is it connected to the wall? Like, because the girls don't. My friends' girls like, sit down and have a tea party and color all gently. And he is not that way. I feel like
So funny.
he's better with that now. But yeah, it's just a boy is totally different. But he's into everything. I think one thing that was really important to us is giving him access to like anything. Like, he loves unicorns, but he loves dinosaurs. And like, I think it's really important to be able to give kids the freedom and creativity to like anything that they want.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is truly about raising a boy that is conscious of consent from this age, you know,
Totally.
I
not
love
touching
that.
somebody's body without asking, which we're working on that one because he just loves to give hugs. That's our part. Um, but like just overall being conscious and gentle with everybody. It's an interesting thing. There are a lot of challenges with raising strong girls. We have a lot more things to teach them about that is sad that we have to address, you know um but I think that's the flip side of it.
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of ways raising a boy is easier, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. We have different challenges, but I think I think in those ways we have less to worry about. However, it really does make the importance of teaching them how to be good men that
Yeah.
more valuable, teaching them
Yeah.
how to be a good friend, how to be a good partner, and really like the nitty-gritty of what that means and the things that are age appropriate as he gets older. I don't want to wait until he's a teenager to teach him those things. I want those things to be like natural for him now, so that when he gets older and he gets, into more adult things, that it's a no-brainer versus a, son, let's sit you down and teach you what this means. It's like, like treating everybody with respect is a natural versus like a rule, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, you're
I
laying the
love that.
foundation. Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah, starting early. And I feel like that's just super important. And yeah, I
Well,
love hearing you
ultimately, it's
talk
just
about
being a
that.
good human, like you
Right.
take like the boy girl thing out of it. It's like it's just teaching people how to be kids, how to be a good, solid human, and just treating everybody with respect. And I think that's the most valuable like thing that you can give your kid too. I
Yeah,
mean, it'll help them their whole life.
Yeah.
totally. Hallie and I talk
Imagine,
about that a lot.
yeah, like imagine if there was more emphasis on that and less on like, we got to teach them their ABCs and
Yeah, your
their,
math homework.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I can't do long division. It's never applied to my life.
Oh,
So it's.
I know.
Yeah.
I was also homeschooled, so I mean, my mom is amazing, and she did an incredible job with my homeschooling. But there's gaps.
Yeah.
She
Well,
trusted me way too much, so there's like I was like, Mom, you left the answer keys out here, like,
yeah.
So because of that, there were things that, yeah, their whole and math was never a strong suit. I graduated early for work purposes, and I had to retake the math because I failed so miserably. And then the second time I passed by like 2 questions.
Math
But
is
you
not
pass.
my strong suit either. Wait, are you gonna homeschool Hendrix, do you think, or no?
Right now, the plan is yes.
Love
Wow.
that.
And both my husband and I were homeschooled. We both had very different experiences with it. I truly loved it, and he did not. And I think it's all based on your circumstance and the type of education that you can give your kid. For us, we have multiple reasons for homeschooling. One is mainly that we travel so much.
Mm,
And for us, I don't want to sacrifice his education, but I also don't want to sacrifice not being together as a family.
totally.
Mhm.
And there are so many good programs out there now. There's a company called K-12, and they're mainly online, but it starts at kindergarten, hence obviously K-12, obvious. But they are incredible. They send you, your science experiments, and you have a laptop. And now it's so much better with like real teachers connecting with you and helping you. And he's a visual learner. Everything is like, very much geared towards visual learners, and you can go as fast or as slow as you need to go. And it's just a really impressive company and curriculum. And they're technically a charter school, I believe.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
It's, connected to your state or, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And yeah, that right now is our soft plan. Those are our two most important reasons. But it's hard. The older he gets, he might want to be in sports or drama or gymnastics or like whatever it is that might change it. I don't want to like keep him out of a sport or something that he loves just, based on like selfishly wanting him to be homeschooled. So we can always readjust,
Yeah.
but at least
Yeah.
for the first couple of years, I think the homeschooling route is the way to go for us.
I love that. Teacher mama,
Yeah.
teacher Sasha.
That is another important thing that I do want to mention is what's hard about homeschooling is it does take effort. And K-12 definitely supports the parents in that way where you do not have to be responsible for your kids' education. And I think that's another thing, right? We're both very busy. We have our own business. I'm still obviously acting and writing and producing and doing all of those different things. And his education is extremely important, and I don't want that to just kind of be on the back burner. So They have a lot of resources. There's a teacher that checks on you every month to make sure that, you're actually doing your work instead of your
Right.
parent or, whatever your situation is. So, we want to make sure that he's getting something really solid and that he doesn't have access to answer keys.
Yeah.
Yes,
Learn from your journey.
exactly.
Yeah,
Live and learn.
exactly. Yes.
I feel like so Hallie and I are right now like in the newborn phase, and obviously you guys are
Mhm.
talking about like kindergarten and homeschooling, and he's about to be
Yeah.
4. I guess like what age or phase was your favorite, and does it like kind of keep getting better and better, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when we had him, it was in the middle of COVID. So it was just a very different experience that I hadn't imagined for my, at the time I was thinking first kid. It was like, whoa, and, everything, my whole pregnancy, everything was so different than you kind of fantasize in your head about having a kid. Um, and I'm I'm so grateful for certain parts of it and certain things, yeah, do kind of make you, a little bummed out. But I feel like every stage there's been something super special. And I'm sure
Mhm.
you will feel the same way too. It's like there are certain things that you love about it. And I was always kind of like, oh, he's, grown out of a certain stage. That's so sad. But then his new phase, there's something super magical about that. So I will say I really truly do feel like it gets better. There's certain things that are really cool about this age where just based on like communication where you're connecting with your kid in a totally different way than before. It's not just that he's able to communicate better, but it's like you're finding out the things that they love and hate and like their true emotions are coming out, but now they can express them in a way that like makes more sense. And I feel like
Right.
we both like both him and us, we both feel like we have a little bit more control over a situation because it's like, oh, okay, this is your reason. Well, let's fix it now versus being like, I no, no, no.
Yeah,
Right,
the
Not what
right,
you
guesswork.
want, sort of a
Yeah.
thing.
right.
Um, I feel like we kind of skipped over the terrible twos. You like brace for impact with that. I don't think he was not a terrible two kid. And then the teenager phase, like there are definitely things where like they test their boundaries and
Yeah.
but I feel like he skipped over that too. I don't know. I think it's so interesting. Like kids are so different and it's just you never know what you're going to get. It's solely based on them and their personality and what's going on around them. But he's not like a throw a giant tantrum in the grocery store kid. Like he'll get upset, but that's just not the way that he like expresses it. Um, so I'm thankful that we skipped over the tantrum
Yeah.
phase.
Seriously.
Um, excuse my French, and you could definitely bleep this out, but I keep hearing about the fucking fours.
I was just gonna say.
So I'm bracing for impact there because there's always a chance that we're just gonna like maybe we'll
Yep.
get the twos, the threes, and the fours all at once. I don't know. I
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know. But overall, yeah, I don't know if I can pick a favorite, but that's the reason. It's because, there's challenges that come with every age so far, but there's always something that like redeems it and makes it super, super cool. He's a
Right.
great traveler. So we're about to go overseas for the first time, and I'm super excited about that because now he's at an age where too, like he can appreciate certain things that he wouldn't before. And or like even just with like cartoons and that sort of thing, like he knows characters so well. And so whether it's like a theme park or like something that we've shown him, like him seeing like the Eiffel Tower in real life, there's certain things that he's so excited about, and that's really fun. So yeah, I mean that's a long-winded answer,
I love that.
but yeah, I'm excited for 4.
Yeah.
Please share your travel tips because I have
Totally.
anxiety about traveling overseas with
It's
a kid.
it's yeah, I mean, we've taken lots of really long plane rides before,
Yeah.
or like he for road trips, we do a lot of road trips and he's like, in the car for a long time and that sort of thing. And I think, you know, a lot of it is about um half of it is making sure that they don't kick the seat and do like certain things that like bother
Right.
other people. But I think the other part is just like activities.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, like, do you guys do an iPad or are you more like actual like
We do
toys?
have an iPad. We do, yeah. So it's that obviously helps.
Yeah.
And that one is definitely download videos or, whatever, so that when you don't have Wi-Fi, you still have content for them to watch.
Yeah.
That's definitely the first tip when it comes to like the iPad situation. But there are certain cool things now. Like there's things that like slide onto tray tables that like keep toys and everything contained in a basket. There's those, I learned from Pinterest, those like window stickers,
Oh
like the like
yeah.
jelly ones. So if you have like the
Yeah.
window seat, that's like a thing. There's oh, I he loves to color. So the like no mess where,
Markers.
yeah, where they're clear, but on
Uh-huh.
the certain type
They
of
show.
paper, that is a like huge win. A magnet connector thing
Oh
with
yeah. My daughter
lights.
loves that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you try and just, and toys that they haven't seen before, like new,
Oh yeah.
new things help too. Like
Totally.
anything on the plane that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it might get you like 10 minutes, but hey, 10 minutes
10
is
minutes is 10
better
minutes.
than nothing. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
hot
The most
tips.
challenging thing about plane trips is diaper changes in the
Oh,
bathroom.
No.
That is honestly the worst part.
Because
yeah.
it's like this, you want to take them into the stall, but it's like so small and also gross and also germs.
So
But it's
small.
like, that's what
And the like,
I know.
yeah, exactly. That's gross. And then the changing table is an absolute joke.
I
It's
know.
like,
Yes.
I
how do
know.
I
Well,
get
and
my kid on this? Yeah.
Horrible.
you want to divide and conquer, but my husband is tall like your husband. And so when
Mhm.
he goes in there, he's like, he'll do it, but he's like, I had no,
I
like,
no
this,
space.
no
Yeah.
There's no
space.
Yeah.
elbows.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel so bad for Hudson on planes. Poor knees and like, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's never good. Yeah.
So hard. Well, these tips are helpful and I know they'll be appreciated for sure.
I'm
Um,
glad.
Katie and I talk so much. Katie and I met at work. We both hosts and producers at Entertainment Tonight, and we talk all the time. I mean, we knew each other in our hustle era,
Yeah.
and we really had like a solid decade of friendship being like hustlers and just working and grinding. And
It's so
then we
cool.
started our motherhood journey in parallel, and we've really talk all the time about how our priorities have shifted, our
Yeah.
dreams have shifted, our goals have shifted. Has that been your experience, and what does that look like for you?
I mean, absolutely. There are just certain things that, will never be the same.
Yeah.
And I actually like that. Our situation, Hudson working from home, is such a blessing in that way because we always keep the family together. And a lot of people don't have that opportunity for like when you're traveling for work. So definitely grateful for that one. That makes a huge difference. Yeah, I mean, I think certain, for me, like certain projects that I take is like I, I'm really selective, but also like you want to provide. So there's like a push and pull there. I feel like, just where you're located, what you're looking for in an area is different. So your commutes will be different based on that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, everything is different. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like Hudson and I have really put a focus on like our relationship being healthy
Mm.
and certain things about our relationship not changing or changing for the better. You learn a lot about your partner when you become parents that you didn't know before because you're kind of it's new for both of you. You're growing, but also you're facing challenges that you can't necessarily predict. So
Right.
naturally your relationship evolves and your priorities evolve in that way, like you're saying. So yeah, I mean, I think it's when you have a baby, it's like that newborn phase is also your newborn phase. You are a new person. Your body's different. Like, your schedule is different. Your sleeping is different. Everything is different. So you're
Your
learning a new
hormones.
version of yourself. Your hormones are different. Yeah. You're learning your new self, and it's I think about trying to find that identity again. I think that's like a really big a challenge is like you will never be the same, but the aspects that you want about yourself, that you want to still recognize a certain version of yourself in the mirror, whatever that might, mean to you is like super important. And so I think always trying to like we've always said this, like as a couple, we want to be really strong in our marriage, which is putting each other first, which, a lot of people have a lot of mixed feelings about. but I think it's vital because if you and your partner are not on the same page and are not connected, you're not going to be good parents. You're
Right.
going to face certain things where, and I sorry, I mean, that's a generalization, but I just mean as a whole. You
Yeah.
might, you might be an amazing parent, but there's certain things that are just going to be super, super challenging when you and your partner are not connected and are not on the same page. And so putting your partnership first is, I think, at least for us, it's advice that we got, but also something that we prioritize, helps so much. Um, and life is crazy. It's chaotic. There are so many different changes. For us, there are like infinite changes all the time. So if we're good, life is good
Yeah.
because we've got all the right things in focus. And of course that's easier said than done. Everything is, you go through waves, but like that is something is like we're best friends and we're partners, and that needs to come first so that we can be the best example, so that we regulate our emotions, so that, I mean, all of those things fall in line, because it's way more difficult to put on a front for your kid
Yeah.
than it is to truly feel that. I think every parent really, they want that for their kid. They want to be their best for their kid, and it's a challenge every single day. You're making that choice. And so many of us fall short naturally because we're not perfect. It's all based on like how you feel that day and how much sleep you've gotten and all the things that you have on your to-do list. And it's a constant juggle. But I feel like if you and your partner are good, it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love hearing you talk about that because it's so true. It's like your marriage does change, like you both change, but you're evolving together and it's like the coolest experience in life that you go through. But it is hard and it's so important to like, yeah, prioritize that marriage and set a good example for the kids too of what that looks like.
Yeah, what that
So,
looks like. Yeah.
um, speaking of like work and dreams, I have to ask you about this Pretty Little Liars reunion with Lucy and Ashley.
Oh, the other night. Yeah, that was so fun. That was really, really
Yeah.
fun.
Well, okay, does the group chat, I feel like Hallie and I are always like sharing tips and hacks and stuff. Is there a PLL group chat where you guys do
We
that?
do
I
have a
know.
PLL group chat. Yes, we do have a PLL group chat, and I feel like it's like about life updates. It's like
Hmm.
during the holidays and like, baby updates or like project updates or like, we definitely like keep in touch in that respect. Because we will always be a family. We went through so many life things together that it's impossible not to have that connection. Um, I'm just gonna wait until later.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you're.
No, don't worry. Yeah.
I
I
know, I
love you.
hear.
I have literally breastfed my child while we've done the
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay,
So this is a
We get
which is
it.
great.
this is a
Yeah.
raw mommy space. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, which I appreciate. So yes, short answer, absolutely. There's a group chat. For this particular experience, I thought Ashley might be there, but I like kind of like forgot to text her. I just moved back to LA. And so I've been able to like reconnect with so many friends that I haven't seen in so long. Lucy and I do Pilates together. So her and I
Oh,
have been seeing
lovely.
each other consistently, and that's been amazing. That's been super, super fun. And so I knew she was going to be there, and then Ashley was there, and that was fun. And Ashley is obviously a new mom. Oh my gosh, her daughter is like the cutest thing on the planet.
I bet.
So that's cool. It's like so many of us are moms now and are just in such a different chapter in life and are killing it. I feel like all of us that, like me and Shay and Ashley and Troian, we are still working and like hustling, and it's cool to see that too. There's obviously nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. It's like the hardest job on the planet, really. But it's fun to see us like still doing that, like what we love, and having this new addition of kids is just so wild. But it's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always great to see them.
Oh, I love that. And it's so fun you guys are all on this like journey at the same time. Basically,
Yeah.
almost all of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so
cool.
fun.
We've made the decision to be one and done.
Mm.
And I'm not sure where Ashley's at. Obviously, her daughter's, I think, 8 months old, so she's got
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
to make that decision. But yeah, I mean, Troian is two, and Shay is two, and so yeah, we're the one done.
I
That's
love that
great.
though. It's
It's a
nice
big
you
debate
like,
too.
I
Two
was
on
gonna,
one is easier
yeah.
than
Yeah,
man on man, you know?
totally. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Outnumbered or even is, I don't know how you guys, I don't know how you do
It's a whole
it.
Mine
new
was,
journey.
yeah, mine
Yeah,
was a surprise, the second one. After like a hard time getting pregnant the first time, and then all the 5 months
yeah.
postpartum, I found out I was pregnant, and I was like,
Mm,
oh,
Yeah.
surprise. Yeah.
so one and done. You said it was like a debate.
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
we always thought we were gonna have more than one. I mean, I'm an only child, but my husband's one of nine, which is just insane. But we were always like two, four, four was like him, and I was like, they're coming out of me. We'll see. But yeah, I always thought, definitely more than one. Um, and we were totally on the same page with that. Like that was like, the plan. And I feel like Hendrix was probably around 6 or 7 months. Um, and I started thinking, I don't know if I want another.
Mm.
Like I'm super content. And I think a lot of people feel that at that point. You're like obsessed and like, in love with this little thing. Like who, there's so many emotions there. But I was like, I think I'm done. But I
Mm.
didn't want to say anything. So I'm like, maybe I'll change my mind. And I know that he wants more than one. So, I'm just gonna kind of sit here and process it. Meanwhile, he was thinking the same thing, and I didn't know, but he thought I was definitely set on more than one, so he wasn't saying anything. I don't know when it might have been around like a year and a half, where we finally like, I don't remember who said it first, but I think it was like, we brought up the subject, and we were like, oh, so relieved that we both feel the same way. But we gave it a while. We gave it, I think like a good year and a half to really like process that decision and see if that was like really something that we wanted. And then he got snipped. And
Yeah.
honestly, best thing ever.
My
Highly
husband
recommend.
too. Snip, snip.
It's great.
Yeah.
It makes, takes the stress off of things. Everything's more fun. You're like,
Yes.
this is great. But it's a huge life decision, sure it's reversible, but like, it's like, okay, we are not going to have that baby stage again. It's a very, very weird feeling, to kind of be like, you've done so many of those steps in life. You're like, okay, you got married, you had the baby, and now that chapter is closed, and obviously you're focusing on like raising a human, but like there's a weird part about that where you're like, oh, I'm done having kids, and it's yeah, it just kind of, it trips you out a little bit, or at least it did for me. Trip me out a little bit. And yeah, it's a cool thing, but we get a lot of shit for it. We get
Really?
so much. We definitely get the whole like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or you're gonna change your mind. Or how dare you? He needs a sibling. He's gonna be so lonely and he's not gonna know how to like, I don't know, share and all sorts of bullshit.
Ugh.
And so that's like, it makes me laugh. And I feel like I don't know if I would have made this decision if I wasn't personally an only child,
Mm.
Yeah.
because I know what it's like. Um, but I'm so glad we made that decision. I mean, it's perfect for us. And I think that's the thing, right? It's like, um, I don't care about outside influences in that way. I'm like, no, this works for us. Our family is complete.
Totally.
And that's cool. That's a good feeling.
Yeah. It's nice to know that you're like done in the with the baby making season too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say I I I had like a couple of complications during pregnancy, but I did love being pregnant. And I
Mhm.
do feel like there's a bit of like, I feel like I got robbed because I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks before lockdown. So, I went through all of that and I'm like, oh, there's so many things like I feel like I didn't get to do with my friends, and we didn't get to do. But that, ultimately is those are silly. Those are silly reasons to have another kid. But I did really enjoy that phase. I had a bit of postpartum depression that I didn't realize I had until I came out of it.
Mm.
It was like
Mhm.
this cloud was lifted, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah. I didn't really know who I was during that phase. So there are certain things that when you have perspective, you're like, you know that you would try and do different again,
Yeah.
the second time round, but it's not another reason, it's not a good reason to have another kid. So
Yeah.
ultimately if that stuff, you kind of start to get over. But we've never second guessed it. I'm really happy being the cool aunt.
Yeah.
All of our friends are also starting to have babies now. We were like the first in our friend groups. And now I'm like, oh, I love this. I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
I love babies. We love kids, and I can let me get to give them back.
Being
Totally.
the first in a friend group to have babies, I now have like a whole newfound respect for the girl in my group who was the first, because your
Mm-hmm.
community doesn't know how to show up for you like they
Yeah,
would if they had, because you just don't know what you don't
it's
know and
totally
how
true.
hard that postpartum season can be. So let me just give you your flowers. That is a brave and hard thing to do. So
Yeah,
yes.
appreciate that.
Um, yes, that is hard. You
Because it's
have
different.
a,
Yeah,
yeah, you have a Christmas movie coming out.
I do.
So excited. Love us a
Thank
good
you.
holiday film. You're also a lifestyle guru. So what do the holidays look like for you, and what are you looking forward to this holiday season?
From Halloween to New Year's, like it's my favorite time of year.
Mm.
I love decorating. I love, throwing like home parties. I love it all. I just am immediately happier. I also hate like heat. So,
Yeah.
so just
Same.
also the weather changing. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a better person from fall to winter. We'll just put it that way. Um, yeah, my favorite season. I love gathering friends and family. I love, what I get to cook. I love the present aspect as far as like really finding things that like will mean something for Christmas. And I don't know, there's just so much joy. I feel like there's a focus on joy this time of year. It's like, even if it's just like deciding what you're going to be for Halloween, if you're into that, that's fun. There's kind of like something for everyone.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is great. And Hendrix, I'm really excited about this too. He really likes it. And I think he's going to be like a spooky kid because his birthday
Mm.
is November 6th. And so we tend to celebrate his birthday around Halloween,
Hmm.
and he's just obsessed. It's like skeletons, bats, like he's just so into it. And that makes me really happy. And he loves Christmas, and so it's fun. I feel like there's so many family activities too. You get to see loved ones, and yeah, favorite time of year. Hudson is like a Thanksgiving guy. He used
Oh.
to get so mad at me when I started decorating for Christmas too early. He's like, it's not Thanksgiving yet. Um, and, I think he's like decided he's not going to die on that hill anymore. He's just like, there's other things I worry about now. He's
Yeah.
just like over it.
It's okay if the tree
Um,
goes up a little early.
yes, there was a funny meme that went around. I don't know if you guys saw it, where it was like a Christmas tree with like a big sheet over it and like
Yeah.
ghost eyes. And it was like, don't tell your husband this is a Halloween decoration. And then you just, I'm like,
Obsessed with
I'm
that.
so into that.
Yeah.
One year I did a fall tree. I put the
Oh,
Christmas tree up and I decorated it with like, like follies and pine cones. He was so mad. I was like, what are you talking about? It's a giving tree. And we had a Friendsgiving and people like pinned what they were thankful for. I was like, see, it's a Thanksgiving tree, pine trees.
That's
Um,
so funny.
yeah, so I always find a way. I always find a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, favorite season. And this is my first Christmas movie that I've done. I took it because like I'm saying, I love Christmas. I love watching Christmas movies. It's a comfort. It's like there's like such a warmth to it. You put your favorite Christmas movie on and you can bake while you're doing it. You can,
Mhm.
run around with the kids, and it's just like it feels good. They're feel good movies. But this one, I really enjoyed the writing. I love Sarah Drew. I really, really loved the writing for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is a spicy Christmas movie. This is
mm,
not really what I mean. I think some of it would definitely go over a kid's head, but it's not a kid friendly Christmas movie. It's like you
Adults
watch it
friendly.
when your kid goes to bed.
love it.
It's spicy, And Lifetime is doing like we're the second Christmas movie with sex scenes in it. So the
Yes.
first one was last year, also a Sarah Drew creation. Um, and and so yeah, we're the second one. And it's more than that. That's not the only reason why I liked it. It's actually the way that they communicate. Because I feel
Mm,
like Christmas movies, and I feel like it's part of the comfort where you're like, you know, the basic storyline, you know, somebody goes home, they
Right.
go back to their hometown and, you know, they fall in
Fall in
love. It's
love
like,
with the
it
baker.
follows that, yeah, no pun intended, cookie cutter or pun intended, I guess, kind of storyline. And there's something wrong with that because it's like what you kind of love about it, you know that there will be a happy ending, you know, that, you know, there's all of those sweet things about it. But this was more interesting to me because the dialogue was very intricate and meaningful, and you had to pay attention because there's a lot of insecurities that they deal with. So my character Andrea is like a J.K. Rowling. She has like a giant fictional series that people are obsessed with. And it's this like fun fantasy story, but there's a love story in there. I think maybe I've just been hiding under a rock, but have you heard of romantasy? That's a thing.
no.
Oh,
Okay, I love that. I was like, oh, romantasy, that's super cool. So it's
yeah.
this fantasy land, but it's a romantic series, and her fans get wind that their favorite character dies, and she just gets, hi, baby. Do you want to say hi?
I got two bubble ones.
I know, isn't that cool? Can you come say hi?
Hi. I got
Hi,
I had two
Hendrix. Ooh,
bubble ones.
You have
Oh
two
my
bubble
gosh.
ones.
wow.
Boba ones?
Is that a Mickey
One,
Mouse?
two.
It isn't Mickey Mouse.
Wow, you're a handsome boy. My
Say thank you. Oh,
goodness.
he can't hear you because
Oh.
I got my earbuds.
Oh,
um,
We're like talking.
yeah,
yeah.
you're talking to him. Sorry, I didn't realize. Um, so her fans find out, they freak out and they riot because one of their favorite characters is dying. The end of the book gets leaked. Um, and so she kind of goes into hiding. People are showing up at her house. I'm not going to give the whole movie away here, believe me. But she's essentially like, there's a riot. She's like kind of being canceled. And so she doesn't know where to go. And she's like, oh, the place that I used to vacation for Christmas, where my family used to go, there's a farmhouse that her aunt still owns. So she's like, I'm gonna go hide away there. And she runs into her high school crush. Um, and he hurt her really bad. You know,
Mm.
he just emotionally was just like that baseball jock that just like ended up being like such a dick. And there were a lot of things to unpack where she's like this strong woman that's like done so many incredible things in life, but there's that insecurity, that kind of like that pang that like she thought she was over, but as soon as she sees him like that, all of those feelings come back, those things that she's hasn't dealt with.
Yeah.
um and the way that their story unfolds, I think, is really special because the communication is excellent, and I really appreciate that. I think that is such a big priority for me in my relationship, that like I was like, oh, this is good. This is good for people to see. Like, this is how you should unpack things. And I thought that was a really special thing. So I love Sarah's writing, and I think that that's a really cool part of this movie that is different to others. And I had so much fun making it. It was a fast shoot, which is so crazy to me. We filmed in LA. So it was a big whirlwind, but it was great to be able to like sleep in my own bed and like see Hendrix in the morning. And it just really was a really fun journey. Their crew is incredible. And Mitchell, who I play opposite, is just like an absolute doll and is randomly also a carpenter. So this is called a
Oh,
carpenter Christmas romance.
Wow.
And
how
I
perfect.
so
Yeah.
when I got cast, I was like, who is this guy that they've cast? And I was like, is he practicing? Like, I'm so confused. Like, his whole Instagram was like
He's
building his
method.
house. And I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a little overboard. Like,
Yeah.
really, dude.
Yeah.
So I
Method
never had
acting to a
it
whole
turns
new level.
out that is just something that he does. He's literally building a house on 75 acres in
Oh my
North Carolina. It was
Amazing.
who are you? But it's so funny how unintentionally typecast he is.
Yeah.
But he is such a doll, and he's perfect for that role. And it's just, yeah, it was just so fun. I think with that type of like anytime there's like a romantic type of relationship that I have to do, I think you always just hope that you can be friends. Because if you can be friendly with someone, if you're like, okay, we can form a friendship for whatever reason, I have the strangest job in that way, but like if you are friends, it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
There's like a camaraderie that comes from friendship that, like, even though we're doing this thing that like nobody would do in their real life, is it like it just works. And so thankfully that happened, because we didn't have any time to do a chemistry read or anything like that. It was just like, oh, Monday, here we are.
Yeah.
We met once before for coffee, and you just kind of hope that it works, and it did. So yeah, it was good. We had a lot of fun.
I cannot wait to watch.
Yeah. And I love Sarah Drew as well. I used to interview her
She's
all
the
the time
best.
for Grey's Anatomy, and I feel like she's
Yeah.
like a genius and also a mom and all, yeah, she's amazing. So when I saw you guys
She
pairing up for this, I was like, two of my favorite
she
people.
like immediately became my sister. It was like we just connected immediately. And Kaylee, who plays my sister in the movie, is just an absolute doll, and they're friends. And it was like I just all of a sudden had two sisters, and it was just absolutely wonderful. We just got along immediately and just aligned on like everything, and we have mutual friends, and it was just like, this feels so right and good, and like
Yeah.
it was like it wasn't acting. It was like, great, you're my sister, and it was just wonderful. So that is like is always a nice surprise. And it's not acting at that point, it's just like fun. We just had some fun on set. But yeah, Sarah and I, she's so amazing
Yeah.
and so funny. I mean, we that is the only thing. We did laugh so much on set that there might have been a few takes that got ruined because of that, because we just couldn't help it.
We want the
Yeah,
blooper reel.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
We need that.
Immediately connected, immediately had a group chat, immediately started sending each other funny things. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Oh, we'll wrap up here soon, but really quickly. So, Hallie and I are both, like we said, like newly postpartum. And I feel like
Yeah.
for me, and we talk about this on the podcast, one of the things that like I struggle with most and I need to like not like get over it, but kind of like embrace it and give myself grace is like the body image that comes with
Yeah.
postpartum. And for me, it's really hard. And so I'm curious, like, what was your relationship like body image wise when you were first postpartum? And what is it like today? And like, what advice would you give to
Yeah,
us?
absolutely. So I had an amazing and a hard pregnancy. And so I had something called pelvic dysfunction. Do you guys know what that is?
No, but it sounds fun.
It's yeah. Um, so it's basically when your body releases too much relaxin
Oh,
too early and like kind of all at once. So I think it was around 4 months where I started getting like excruciating hip pain and back pain. And yeah, I was like, oh, you've got pelvic dysfunction. And that means that your muscles essentially are not holding your bones together. Super cool. So my body was not holding my pelvis together properly. And so everything was like loosey goosey in a way that was kind of the worst thing on the planet. I, from 4 months, couldn't like walk upstairs without being in pain. I was always in pain. I couldn't sleep properly. I'm a side sleeper, and you're supposed to sleep on your side when you're
When you're
pregnant. I
pregnant.
could not. There was one moment where I was like really desperate to lay on my side, and I had, like all the pregnancy pillows and all the things. And I turned over, and my pelvic bones crossed over each other and
Oh,
clicked. And it was so loud and audible that Hudson heard it. And it was the most, honestly, it was, I would say, more painful than like the first couple hours of labor. Like it was so bad.
oh my.
Um, so that was really hard. It's like in the middle of COVID, I really thought like, oh, I'm gonna be able to like go take walks and like cycle and like be outside. It was just like exciting. I didn't get to do any of that. I
mm.
sat on the couch, watched the Game Show Network, and like, had whatever I was craving. And so my pregnancy also looked different. And I have PCOS. So I also, as much as I was really dedicated to being healthy during pregnancy, but in general, those things are like a big challenge during
Yeah.
pregnancy. And so I gained way more weight than wanted to. And so that was also harder on my body. But it's like, it still feels okay while you're pregnant because you're like, I'm
Yeah.
growing. This is a miracle.
Growing
Like,
a life.
I
Yeah.
also, wasn't going out. I wasn't on a red carpet. I wasn't trying to work at the time. So it was like, okay, I can hibernate and this is okay. Like I was trying to keep like a healthy perspective on it. And then that kind of changed postpartum because now I wasn't pregnant and now I felt different and everything about me felt foreign.
You're like, who am
Um,
I when you look in the mirror
Yeah.
sometimes? Or
right.
that's how I
I
felt.
just didn't recognize myself. I could rationalize it when I was pregnant. Postpartum, at the stage that I was at, I couldn't. I was like so thankful for my body that like everything was healthy and okay, and he was, healthy and like, in all other senses, I was in a good place, but like my body was not the same. And then I ended up also having a really like my diastasis recti was like really, really intense. So, everybody has separation in their abs. Most people
Did you
can
have a
get them.
C-section?
I did not.
You did not. Okay.
Most women can kind of close that gap in a decent amount of time with physical therapy, even if it's like not immediately where it's supposed to be. Mine was not. So mine was like 4 inches wide. I
Wow.
could like feel my organs. So like,
Oh
that's
my.
not normal. So I also felt really weak
Yeah.
because that created a lot of back problems. And so like I didn't look the same. I didn't feel the same. That wasn't getting better. So I ended up having surgery on it. And so then I was going through like also kind of like guilt in that way because like all of a sudden, I have like a 4 month old and I can't help for like, like 3 weeks or whatever it was. So that felt shitty. Um, and so I went through a lot of different stages of guilt and also just not liking myself.
Mhm.
I had a really big heart, like a really hard time with breastfeeding. My milk didn't come in all the way. So then it was like, and now I'm not, it feels so intense in the moment. It was like, and now, I'm not, my body is not doing the thing that it's like supposed to do. And that felt really bad. But then, we started like doing half and half with formula and he started gaining weight. And then I got to a point where I was like, why am I, oh my goodness,
Sorry. My husband has
hi.
to go to work.
So precious. Hi, sweet thing.
Hi,
Oh,
Gaia.
Sorry, not to, and oh,
I mean, no, I'm fully okay with this. How sweet are you? Um, where was I at?
You did half and
Oh,
half
with
with
breastfeeding.
formula.
Yeah,
formula.
yeah. And so he started gaining weight, and then I was like, I got to a point like, so my husband was like so supportive through all of this. I was like, why am I putting so much pressure on myself? He's healthy, he's growing, he's fed. And so I made the decision to stop breastfeeding because it wasn't happening for me anyway. I was in so much pain, and that helped.
Yeah.
And I think that helped also clear the cloud because once I stopped breastfeeding, there were like certain hormones that, weren't like raging like they were
I
before.
feel that.
And I
Yeah.
gained a lot of perspective and I was getting healthier and like with PCOS, low impact workouts and low carb are like the best way to like get back on track, but also like the most effective. And so I just started doing my best to like focus on health as best as possible. And I was, able to lose a lot of the baby weight that I had gained. And like, as much as I think that like, I mean, women just are so hard on themselves.
Mhm.
It's, I think the more and more that I talk to other people, the more and more I felt, it's not even that I felt better necessarily. It was just that like I felt relief. Like you know in your head that like, okay, every woman goes through this. Every woman's body is amazing. Everyone, you can look at everybody else with grace, but you never do that for yourself.
So true.
Um, and I think that's like, the biggest thing was like getting to the point where I respected my body again, truthfully, not just like telling myself that. And I think there's just such a big difference of like, saying it until you believe it. It's like
Yeah.
you can say it to yourself all that you want, but until you actually believe it, it's not gonna, you're not gonna feel that way. So I think the biggest thing for me was like regulating my hormones and then respecting my body again as far as like getting stronger. Like that was that I was like, let me reformat the way that I'm thinking. I just want to get stronger. I don't need, I want to look like, the best that I can look physically. And I have the job side of it too, or like my job also expects me to look a certain way. So
Yeah.
I try to like kind of separate that and just be like, I just want to feel good and I want to feel strong. And I think that was definitely the way for me. That was like the good start of my journey. Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
I'm so sorry.
There is no reason to be sorry. I'm so happy. Oh my goodness.
I
But
love
yeah, I
hearing
mean, that
you
was
say that because it's true. It's like you just want to be strong and you want to be healthy mostly for your kids, right? And
yeah,
like it's so important to sort of like reformat in your head. This is why I'm doing this, not I don't know. That made me feel a lot better hearing you talk about that.
Yeah, I feel
With
super
my
seen.
child grabbing the microphone. I'm so
Yeah.
I know. I love it. I love it. I think the biggest thing too is like, again, like prioritizing self-care. So like, I was saying, prioritizing your relationship with your partner, but it's also prioritizing self-care, which like I am not great at. I
Same.
know what
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
finding the
it really is
time.
trying to enforce it. It's finding the time. Like when Hendrix goes to sleep, I don't want to focus on my skincare routine. I don't want to
No.
like, do an ab workout. I'm like, that's the last thing I want to do.
You want to lay on the
Um,
couch and like catch up on a show.
Yep.
yeah,
I
exactly.
do.
I want to like I want to like take that like hour to myself or hour to like with my partner to like try and recalibrate.
Right.
And so yeah, I think it's just like it's constantly making the decision every day to like do something good for yourself.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna be able to accomplish it all ever. But I think that's the thing is like try and do one thing that's like good for yourself.
Yeah.
Totally.
I don't know. It's a constant challenge, like it's I don't think it's ever something that like you can master. And I truly believe the people that say they master it are lying.
I agree. It is
Totally.
the universal mom struggle.
Totally.
100%.
Yeah.
There's something is going wrong. Like
Yeah.
there's never, and everything is never always right. Um, and if you say it is, I think you're lying.
Me too.
Same.
I'm not buying what you're selling.
Yeah. It's funny
Exactly.
because we said that a couple weeks ago. We're like,
Yeah.
show me like a mom who has it all together and show me a liar.
Exactly. We know you're lying.
Exactly. It truly is the case.
Yeah.
Pretty little liar. Pun intended.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And
Um,
you will not find me in that category. I will tell you the good, bad, and the ugly.
so that is one thing I did want to say, and we'll wrap it up here because I know moms are busy. We want to give you your time,
Absolutely.
and we're so grateful for it. But we had a guest on the show who quoted Gloria Steinem saying that the bravest thing we can do as women is to share our experience, our honest experience with other women. And we feel like you have done
Absolutely.
that so much, not only here in this hour with us, but just in your entire career. You've used your platform to help other women feel seen. And we just want to take a minute and say thank you for that because that
Oh.
really is the brave thing. And um, we thought we'd end it. We like to say that motherhood is a sisterhood. We genuinely believe that. And we just wanted to know if there's anything you could kind of say to the women who are listening who might be in the thick of it or just might need a word of encouragement. What might you say?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I had my one true best friend from like a little, I was, 8 or something like that. But I never really sought out like strong female friendships because it was just like there was always like judgment or competition or like ridiculous things that I was like, "Ugh, guys are so much like more laid back." Like I had like a bunch of guy friends. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I started going through all of my health issues that I was like, I need a bigger community of girls because
Mhm.
no matter how amazing a guy can be, there are just certain things that like they won't understand and it's not their fault. It's
Yeah.
just, there are certain things that they will never feel or go through and you need you need that community. And so I guess my advice is like finding the real women around you that you can share the good, bad, and the ugly. And really finding, it's not about a quantity, it's about quality. Really
Yeah.
finding a good, community of women that like you connect with, that you feel like is a support group, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that is just like it's vital. Because you need that safe space. You really truly need that. To like to vent to have, advice, to like help out, to all of it. It's just so, even if nobody can like fix anything, because no, there's never going to be like a fix all. It's
Right.
just that like camaraderie of like understanding that can make all the difference.
Yeah.
It
Just
can it, can-
feeling
it can
seen.
truly be life changing.
I
Yeah.
I feel like
Um
that's why we started this podcast too, is like because we always felt so alone, or at least I did postpartum, and then having
yeah,
this like time with other moms to be like, I get it. I see you. I'm in it too. You're not alone. It's been
yeah.
so vital, like you said. Sorry not to interrupt you.
And oh my God, no. And I just want to say thank you for thanking me, because that's really sweet. I never know how to like truly take a compliment, so I'll try. But that really means a lot. Thank you. I mean, I think I just don't think that anything ever gets better if we don't talk about it. You know, especially like mental health and women's health. It's understudied, you know, there's so much that we don't understand about women's health still. So I think the more that we talk about it, the more that we bring up issues, the more that we like, you know, put pressure on our doctors to like truly listen to us and figure it out. But the better it'll get, the more support we'll get, the more understanding we'll get. I think that truly matters. So yeah, talk about it.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think just to not be embarrassed about those issues. That's the hardest part in so many ways.
yeah.
I feel like in this type of society, we're always trying to look perfect and be perfect, and that's not realistic. Um, but it's really hard for young girls to feel like they belong, because they're trying to hide all the things that society has deemed that is wrong with them.
Mhm.
And so I want that to change.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's a big thing for me.
So much
Well,
needs
you're
to
doing
be.
your part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. And you're right. The more we talk about it, the better it gets, the less alone people feel. And I also agree, like the doctors need to do more. We need to study women's health more. It's like, how many
Yeah.
times did I call my doctor or send a picture of like something gross and be like, is this normal? And
Yeah.
it's
Is this
like,
normal?
and everything's normal. Everything's, oh,
Yeah.
hey, my hair's falling out in chunks. Oh, that's normal. And then it's
And
like,
you're like, oh,
okay, well,
great.
my eyeball
Wish
fell
somebody
out.
would told
Is
me
that
about that.
normal? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it's,
true. So true. I mean, down to silly things. Sorry, I know we're trying to wrap this up. And I do actually do need to go, but
Yes.
so many silly things, just like even sleep studies. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that the other day, but sleep studies were always done on men. And so up until recently, we didn't know that women need more sleep,
Mhm.
which,
Yep.
haha, comical. But yeah, it's like those different things that like we wish we would have known those types of things, more, or like sooner, because then you prioritize things differently. Everybody thinks about those things differently then. If those things were like scientifically, proven at this simultaneously at the same time, we would have a different perspective on sleep. It wouldn't even be a thought. And so I think those are the reasons why it's so important. Going back to like teaching your kid stuff, like I want my son to know to know women's anatomy, know what that's like. He's going to know his own body. But like I think it's important to know like what a woman goes through during their menstrual cycle, their whole cycle, like what they're feeling like when. It doesn't have to be like crazy detailed, but it's just like there are certain things that boys just don't learn.
Yeah. So
Um,
true.
and so I think that's also something that's like it's just like a general sense of understanding in that aspect, I think is also really important. So, side note. But yeah.
Well, you're a good mama.
You are an
I
amazing
mean, I
human.
try my best. We are all good mamas. Yeah. Yeah,
You-
you too as well. Like, all we can do is try our best.